And that's because you're excited to go to the gym. See, this is
There
what's
you go.
beautiful about the 3 days per week. You know, you have days to recuperate, and we're going to dive into that right now because that's huge. You know, it's funny. You brought up the energy, and now you're 67. We actually had a subscriber ask a question that I thought, why don't we kick this off with one of their questions? Because since you
Okay.
brought that up, you are known for being high energy and enthusiastic during your training. What is your secret for your high energy, and do you still have it today?
Absolutely. I share with people all the time that I thank God that I have that same enthusiasm I had when I was 12, 13 years old when I first started lifting. People see me come in the gym and they're like, man, Dwayne, that energy, that passion. I'm like a little kid at Christmas Eve when I know I have to train the next day. I can't wait to wake up and go to the gym and train. Because I train like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So I wake up so enthused and I walk into the gym with a big smile on my face, man, because it's so energizing. So I love the feeling of the blood flowing through the body and the muscles. To me, there's no other feeling like it. And the fact that it keeps you looking good, but better than that, makes you feel good. Okay. Why would I not want to continue to do that?
That's it. That makes total sense. Would you attribute it mainly the high energy is from the working out and keeping a consistent schedule with that?
Yes, I definitely attribute it to that because see, I learned a long time ago, never to follow the herd. Find out what works for you and you own it. I realized less was more. In the beginning, like many bodybuilders, I used to think more was more. I subscribe to Mike Mentzer's theory, high intensity, hit it hard, and recuperate. Okay. And this way you're always anxious to go train. So it's never drudgery. I got to go to the gym today. No, I'm excited to go to the gym today. Okay. That's the difference. And I realized by training less, but training real intense, because that's what I also am known for. But the recuperation is the key. I'm not going to the gym every day. I'm not looking for another job. If you have to go to the gym 6 days a week, at some point your mind will get fatigued. Okay. By me not doing that, I realized, wow, I'm always excited to go to the gym. And that's a beautiful thing. And the people appreciate your energy when you come in the gym.
Pause that thought because that is very awesome to hear. So, what do you train like 3 days a week?
3 days a week, I do legs by themselves. I do back, triceps, and rear delts. I do chest, biceps, and front delts. And when I do back, I also do side delts. So I train 3 days a week, and then sometime I'll go on a fourth day just to hit something. But 3 days consistently. Even when I was competing and winning titles and everything like that, I never spent more than 5, 6 hours a week in the gym. Yeah,
When did you subscribe to the Mike Mentzer stuff, the 3 days per week? How old were you when you started that?
I was probably about 18.
Wow.
Yeah, probably about 18 years old. Yeah.
You've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, I've been training now for 53, 54 years. Yeah.
That's longevity
Yeah.
right there.
And I see no end. That's the
Hmm.
beautiful thing about it. This morning I was in the gym doing legs, which is my favorite part to train. I'm like, how apropos on my birthday, I'm in the gym and doing my favorite body part. That's a birthday present to me that I presented to myself.
That's
Yeah. And
awesome. That's awesome. So we're talking 3 days a week for pretty much the majority of, if not almost all your career, right?
correct. Yes. Hmm.
Okay. The listeners are gonna love this. So let's say you're getting up. It's you said 4:30 a.m.
Yeah, 4 o'clock. I'm up at 3:30. Yeah.
and you train in the morning. So what's that look like? You get up, do you eat breakfast or do you just go right
Yeah.
to the gym?
No, every morning I start out with a bowl of oatmeal.
Hmm.
Every single morning. I don't care if I'm on vacation. I don't care if I'm traveling. I take my oatmeal with me, but that's my first meal that I get in my body every single day. Low glycemic carbohydrates, what gives you sustained energy for a prolonged period of time. So eating a nice bowl of oatmeal starts my day off, and then I hit the gym. Soon as I'm done with that bowl of oatmeal, to the gym. Yeah, fuel.
So that's like what, like an hour or two later after you've gotten up?
When I
Hmm.
wake up, I come downstairs. I fix my oatmeal, eat my oatmeal, I'm heading out of the door. Yeah,
Okay, right away.
yeah.
So, if you've been doing that since you were 18, by the way?
The oatmeal I've been doing probably since I was about 20, 25. Yeah,
Okay.
consistently.
And the 4 a.m. wake up call?
The 4 a.m. See, I love getting up early because you get stuff done. And like I worked for Toys R Us for over 30 years, managing their stores. I loved going to the gym in the morning because you never know what you're going to face when you get to work. And it may prolong your day. And I don't want to be exhausted. Like, oh man, your supervisor comes by, the district manager, he wants to go over numbers and this, that, and the other. And now you're there longer than you anticipated. Okay,
Mm.
when I get up in the morning, I can control that. So I feel for me, the best is soon I get up in the morning and train. Once I do that, I can take on anything.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I can relate to that. I'm sure many who listening can relate to that as well. And if they haven't gotten into that, maybe they come across a period or time period in their life where that might be more beneficial for them, whether it's life, family, starting a family, who knows,
correct.
right? Yeah.
Correct.
Because you mentioned Mike Mentzer. Was he a big inspiration for you when you first started lifting, like in the magazines? And I
Yes.
mean, we're talking like the 70s,
The
60s.
70s. Yeah. Because I started training back in 1970. Yeah. And, Mike Mentzer was one that I looked up to, with his training techniques, because I grew up reading every magazine article I could find: Iron Man, Joe Weider, Muscle Digest, all those magazines, and that motivated me. At the age of 5 years old, that's when I really saw my first bodybuilding magazine. And I saw the covers of these guys with the muscles, and I was in the store with my grandmother. I'm like, wow. My eyes like were unbelievable. And I said, that's what I want to do. So I would come home and follow Jack LaLanne, do those exercises. And you're talking about 5, 6 years old. I was doing, yeah. So I was hooked at a young age. I said, one day I want that to be me.
Obviously your career spans from, I want to say, the 1970s all the way to 2005 recorded
Right.
online, right? And you've had some major contest wins like the WMBF Mr. Universe overall title, middleweight title.
Mhm.
What would you say is your most memorable though?
My most memorable win was when I won the middleweight division of the Mr. Universe, because I had taken 2 years off from competition because I needed to get some things in my life in order. I drew closer to God. I had a back issue from doing heavy squats. So I took time off from competing for 2 years. And by going lighter, my legs grew more because I was going higher reps. And I realized that the more blood I got into the muscle, the greater the pumps were in my legs, because my legs were always strong. So I could squat heavy, but I was getting more out of when I started rehabbing, going higher reps. I'm like, whoa. And I just put two and two together. I'm like, this is working out pretty good. And my legs just started getting better and better, from the higher reps. Yeah. So that worked for me.
So that was almost like a lesson learned, or not lesson learned, but it was almost a light bulb that happened during that period, which is why it made it most memorable to you because you took that with you all the way now. I'm assuming you're still doing high reps to this day.
Absolutely. Because
Yeah.
it worked. Yeah. And people like, man, Dwayne, what do you do for your legs? And then I've taken people through workouts, and a lot of guys didn't make it through the workout. And see, I train with that intensity even to this day at 67 years old. Yeah.
Wow. And that's because you're excited to go to the gym. See, this is
There
what's
you go.
beautiful about the 3 days per week. You have days to recuperate. And we're going to dive into that right now because that's huge. And I think people are dragging their feet when they're going to the gym a lot of times, especially as they get older, responsibilities start to pile up. You're not 20 years old going in the gym 5, 6 days a week with that same energy when you're 30, 35. I mean, maybe there's the exception, maybe.
Right.
I'm
Right.
sure I've heard a few guys that preach that still to this day, but I do wonder if they trim that down, if their enthusiasm would go up and their happiness would go up potentially. Because
Exactly.
some guys are addicted to the gym, as you know, in
Yes.
this
Yes.
natural bodybuilding circle, especially with the competing side of things. They
Mhm.
think that they need to be living in the gym to get the results, or they feel like maybe they're missing out on something, right?
Yeah. And you're not. And that's the beautiful thing about it, because people overtrain and then they wonder why they're not seeing the results. Your body needs to recuperate. And I've proven it to myself. The more rest I get, the more growth I received. And no joint problems. I don't ache anywhere. My shoulder doesn't bother me, my elbows, my knees, none of it. So you have to shift gears. We all went through that heavy training part of the equation. I think it serves its purpose. But as you get older, you have to adjust. And that's what I did. And you can't be afraid to be different from the herd. Okay. I never gave a darn about the herd. I had to do what affected me. And once I found out what worked for me, I owned it. And that's what I did. So you have to be your own guinea pig and
That's
find out
right.
what worked for you. Yeah. Because I
You're the
tried it all.
experiment.
Exactly.
At 67 years old, how's your physique looking to you personally
Mhm.
relative to, say, your peak? How far off are you from that?
People ask me, why aren't you still competing?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. People are amazed when they see me. They're like, Dwayne, why aren't you still competing? Because they're like, you look better than these guys that are on stage, man. Okay. And I would say I'm off maybe 30%. I know if I want to get back on stage, I could get back on stage. I would have to probably diet 5, 6 weeks, maybe. I keep myself in tip top condition all the time because there's a look that I want to have when I look in the mirror. That's why I got into it. Anybody can put on size. I want it to be attractive size. So when you take off your clothes, people are like, wow, that looks nice. Okay. Whereas a lot of guys look big in clothes, but when they take them off, they look fat. Okay. I want to see my abs. At 67 years old, I'm proud to pull up my shirt and show my abs. People are like, my God, how do you do it? That's diet, eating the right foods. And I have no problem at all. You can see.
Hey, there it is right there. 67, lean.
You
That,
know, that's
man, not too much. You know what's so amazing what you just did? I was just did a episode with Tom Kiat. He's a bodybuilder. Kiat Tipis, he's a bodybuilder who competed at the Yorton Cup. He's older now, 54, and he was talking about how many people are going to be brave enough to do what you just did on the camera. Not that many, because they're not in shape all year long, right?
correct. Correct.
That's what we were talking
Absolutely.
about. And that is awesome that you just, I didn't even have to ask you. I'm like, you know what? I just spoke with him, huh? I just spoke with him literally the episode before yours. And I'm like, because we were talking about that. And here you go. You did it. I didn't even have to ask you. And you did it. You did the thing right
Okay.
there. You're in shape, man.
And I take pride in that. And it feels good because the younger people look up to you, and the older people in your age group, they're like, man, you're holding it down for us. So I take tremendous pride in that when people are like, man, you look fantastic. And then people come up to me all the time, how old are you? If you don't mind me asking you, because they look at my mustache, they can see the gray. And when I drop
Mm.
my age, they like, no way, man. I'm like, yeah. And I always get a kick out of people when they're like, oh, you can't stop lifting, because when you get my age, it's going to fall apart. Meanwhile, I'm 15 years older than the person who's talking to me,
You're
you
right.
know. So I always get a kick out of that. Okay.
They blame age. They want to blame their age.
Yeah. No, you got lazy.
You
Okay.
got lazy.
It,
Or when they blame their age on all the aches and pains they have, and sometimes maybe there's a genetic component there. But even then, are you doing everything else you could be doing to make sure you're not in that situation? That's the main thing.
absolutely.
That's what you got to
And
ask
then
yourself.
me, I'll find a way to work around
Mm-hmm.
anything. Okay. I'm not going to let anything stop me from training. So you get a little ache here, you figure out, okay, now how can I work around that? Okay.
I
Because I'm not
love
stopping.
that's
I'm not
it.
stopping. Yeah. You got to
That's
conquer, man. And you got to be smart. Okay. I know when it was time to shift gears from all that heavy training. You're getting older. Your body is not meant to keep taking that tremendous heavy pounding. And if you're smart, you realize that. But the pumps I get now, training the way I do is phenomenal. So I'm not giving up anything
that's
because there's
very
nothing like the pump.
no, that's true. That's true. I mean, hey, man, we could say all we want, but Arnold had it. He had it right, man, back in the 70s
He
when he
said it.
said that.
And I've had females like, you're crazy. Okay. No, it's the truth. All the
Yeah.
time coming, man.
You
Okay.
feel amazing. You feel amazing after you finish that workout and you just everything's pumped up. You can't, there's nothing that compares. No.
Nothing. And
Yeah.
I was sharing that with somebody the other day. There's nothing on this earth that gives me the feeling I get when I go into the gym. Okay.
So
Nothing.
So that's incredible that you have this incredible energy, right? And you're talking about how much that gym, what it does for you, like from a mental, like physical, everything, right? And someone might be wondering, man, how does this guy not train like 5 days a week if he's getting that feeling? Talk about the recuperation. Let's dive into
The,
that a little
recu-
bit.
the recuperation is key. What you put in your mouth and getting the recuperation is the most important thing you can do. And once I linked into that, I saw my body. I felt good all the time. I felt strong. And there's so much stuff to do outside of the
Mm,
gym, man. Enjoy your life, and that's the way I look at it. Because I grew up, mine just focused on bodybuilding as a young teenager. You got to diversify. You have to get out there and enjoy life. And you can't be totally consumed with anything because then you'll burn out. And that's what I realized by pulling back. I started doing other things, and I'm like, wow, I am discovering this, I'm discovering that because I have time. Okay. So this way, tomorrow, man, I train tomorrow because I didn't train today. So I'm
mhm.
excited. Okay. But you actually feel better because if you're training constantly, your body is not recuperating. And then that's when you start feeling these little aches and pains, the tendonitis and everything like that. No, your body is not meant to be under stress constantly. So remove the stress. People are like, oh, well, it's a different body part. It's still stress on your body. Relieve that stress on your body. And then mentally, it makes you that much stronger. Yeah.
What's your ideal schedule? Like if you had to plan it out from Monday to Sunday, how would that look like as far as recuperation between workouts? What would you ideally like it to be? Or does it depend on the week and how you're feeling?
Yes. Say, for instance, today I trained for 5 o'clock this morning. And today, I came home, took a little nap for about 40 minutes. I love my naps. I try to get those naps in because that just energizes your body. Just a 40-minute nap, a power nap. That keeps me going. And then I can go out and do things. I like to roller skate, bike ride. I love to dance. And these are the things that I like to do. I love the summertime because you have a lot of outside festivals and, house music. I love house music. Yeah, I can dance all night long. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because you have energy now. You got that energy,
There you
right?
go. There you go. People like, man, Dwayne, I can never see you just sitting around doing nothing. No, your body's not meant to sit around and just do nothing. The body needs to be active. Okay. Yeah. So I love being active. And then you got to learn to just relax, spend time with friends, family, relationships.
Mm.
That's important. Build quality relationships with people. God is first and foremost in my life and everything that I do. I try to share the spirituality, and treat people the way I want to be treated and be an example for others to follow. People think, when you got God in your life, your life is going wrong. My life is very exciting. Okay. And you can show people how to do things the right way, morally, ethically. Those values carry over.